Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Anita Library. I'm Anita and this is my library. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my 5-star reads from 2024. Now I will say, I just got back into reading in 2024, so some of these books might have had a bit of a liberal rating. However, as a caveat for me, or a rule of thumb, 5-star means I absolutely ate it up. I adored it. I love the male and female main characters, if applicable. I thought about this book days after. I still think about this book, and I will reread it, and I will recommend it and gush about it and blurb about it as much as possible. For me, definitely the strongest hitting point is I have to, for sure, be confident in the fact that I'm going to reread this book. And also, if I have a strong, a powerful emotional response, meaning if I cry, if I am just angry beyond anger's limitations, not because of writing style choices, but just because of the events of the book and being upset by something because of what's happening, or you know what I mean? Not oh, why'd you do that, you're stupid, but just oh, I can't believe this is happening, I'm stressed. Hopefully that makes sense. If you get me, you get me. But I have to feel something really powerful for these books. More often than not, it's tears. But some of these I didn't cry over and they still make the list. Anywho, these are going to be in no particular order. So first up, I have A Love Song for Ricki Wilde by Tia Williams. This is such a mood for me. It's such a mood, it's such a vibe. It's so cozy and old school and beautiful and old soul. The male main character is an old soul, but in a young dude's body, and he's so chivalrous and respectful, and just they don't make him like that anymore. That's what he was giving. And the female, I can't remember her name. Ricki. Her name is Ricki. Jesus Christ. Ricki, she is such a strong female character, and that is also something that gets me, is strong female characters. I just live for them. She's so strong, she's so independent, not hyper independent, there's a difference, but she's so independent and resilient, and she stands on her own 2 feet, but she's also soft and feminine and loving, and the way that they are just drawn to each other and they connect to one another and just inexplicably adore one another. It's just so lovely to me. And if this is a love story for me, this is not everybody's cup of tea. If you don't like any historical fiction, it wasn't a lot to me, but if you don't like any of it and your eyes are just glazing over, you might not love this as much. It has a twinge of magical realism in it. Again, that doesn't bother me, but if it does, you might be irritated with the book. But for me, none of those bothered me, and I still obviously very much give it 5 stars, and I will reread. Next, I have Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. This book was on my shelf for longer than I care to admit. When I finally picked up this book, I don't know what told me to pick up this book. When I finally picked it up, I promise you, I ate it up immediately. So this is a dark academia book, which also, side note, this is really what propelled me into that subgenre of fiction. This is about a young girl who goes to a prestigious private school, and she has currently an acceptance to Yale. And she's earned it on her own merit. She's African American. She goes to a mostly white school. She earned this scholarship. Well, she gets into it with one of the really popular girls, and the popular girl gets her family to pull some strings and get her acceptance to Yale rescinded. So now she's all down bad and upset and regretting life decisions and stuff. Well, there's a competition that comes about where one of the, again, very affluent families, rich white families, they hold a competition that pretty much sponsors one of the young senior girls who deserves it, and they sponsor their entire collegiate education and will get them into the school of their choice. So Adina, the main character, enters into the competition with that intent to earn back her scholarship to Yale. And the competition is, they really didn't tell her much about the competition, and it couldn't have met her assumptions if she had any. But watching her go through the games, the vicious games or whatever, was such a wild ride, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Next I have Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This was not my first Kennedy Ryan book. It was many people's first Kennedy Ryan book, but it was just too hyped for me, and my expectations were too high. So I had to read something else of hers that wasn't too hyped, and see if I like the writer's writing style. So I guess what I should do before I get into that is show you the one that I did read first, or the series that I read first rather, and that is the Hoop series. I read Long Shot first, and then there's Block Shot, which was literally a 1-star. All of these are the only Kennedy Ryan books that I've read along with Block Shot. These are all 5 stars, and Block Shot was 1 because it was a DNF. I'll tell you about that later. Well, I've talked about it in another video. It was in my book tag, my mid-year freakout tag, why that one was in a 1-star, but literally all the other Kennedy Ryan books I've read were 5 stars. This one, I didn't know that a book could make me feel all the things this book made me feel. I was not expecting it. I checked the trigger warnings, so I was like, oh, okay, like how bad could it be, or like how worked up could I get, or how descriptive could they possibly be? Baby. Oh yeah, like even holding this book is like messing with me right now. It was a wild ride of emotions on this one, and it was outstanding writing. I don't know why this book isn't talked about as much as this one. It's incredible, incredible. Also, Hookshot. This was my favorite book of the year at the time that I read it. Another book brought it out of the water. If you know, you know. But this one I just resonated with so much. These are basketball romances, if it wasn't clear. This one is more basketball-y than this one. This is book 1 of the series. This is book 3. And this one is during the off season. So it's not too much basketball in this one, if you're not really into sports romance. But this has a single dad. He's recently divorced. I think his kid is probably like 12 or something, and she's not doing well with the divorce. And then there is the female main character. She's in fashion, and she's 25, so there's a bit of an age gap between the two of them, which doesn't bother me at all. And she's a very strong female main character, and she's very mature to be 25. Like, I'm so surprised at how she handles things, and how she stands on business, and how she's so selfless, and like just has it all together seemingly. I admire her. Like, I want her to be like my big cousin or something. And I think what's funny is she is the big cousin to the main character in this one. So I absolutely adored this book, and I do recommend it. I would check the trigger warnings on this one, because it can be it can pull at the heartstrings. This one isn't as graphic as this one at all. But I would still prep yourself emotionally if you're interested in reading this. I don't recommend the second book at all, but if you have them all, like, go ahead and give it a try, but you can just skip it. You won't miss anything. You won't miss anything by skipping to the third book. Okay, so back to this. This was the book that I read after I read those, and so I kind of knew that she was gonna pull at my heartstrings and she was going to talk about more than just the romance. This has a family dynamic in it as well. They're divorced and they're grieving and they're trying to work the business together. They're trying to respect each other. They're trying to co-parent and they're trying to move on and date other people. And it's just a lot that it feels like real life. Her books feel like real life, which is part of it why it hits so hard when like very traumatic things happen, because it feels so real. It feels like either it's happening to you or you're reading about it through someone you know really well, like a good friend, and like it tears you up. It tears me up. So that is why it has taken me some time to get to my last Kennedy Ryan book that I have on my shelf, which is This Could Be Us. It is on my TBR and I plan on reading it next after I finish reading the blueprint. But either way, Kennedy Ryan is excellent at her craft. She can do almost no wrong. Next up, I have Love Radio by Ebony LaDelle. This is a YA romance book. It's so cute. Oh my goodness. So this is about a girl, Danny. She is also in her senior year. Her and Prince, they're both in their senior year, and Danny's not looking to date anybody. She's trying to get her college applications done, her essays done. She's just trying to get into like her dream college and just set herself up for success. Her eye is on the prize, which is her future. Then Prince is a lover boy, not like a player boy, but he just loves love. He hosts a radio show. His uncle kind of set him up with it, and he just gives like love advice to like teens, adults even. They like respect his opinion. And honestly, reading this, I was like, man, he's really wise. So like, he's not just spitting out the side of his ear. Like, he knows what he's talking about, at least from my opinion. And he has a crush. He's always had a crush on Danny, and they kind of run into each other, and he finally like shoots his shot, and reluctantly kind of, she's like, I'll give it a chance. Like, we'll see, we can hang out, and if you want to sweep me off my feet, you can try. And we just kind of see them go on a bunch of cute dates and like really develop a respect and friendship for one another. And it was just so adorable to see, and unique and refreshing, and I just adored this couple. Next, I have Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. This is a short little book. Like, it's so unassuming. It's adorable on the cover. It's short. It's a YA. Like, what could I be getting myself into? This is so sweet. So the main character here, her name is Evie. She is kind of jaded. Her parents have divorced. She doesn't believe in love anymore. At the beginning of the book, she's like throwing out all of her old romance books. She doesn't want to hear about love. She don't want to talk about love. She don't believe in it. She thinks everybody's going to break up, and she's just very cynical at this point. Well, she finds this book, and it kind of inspires her or leads her to go take dancing lessons. Well, in the dancing lessons, her teacher sets her up for a dance competition. Well, she needs a partner, so she gets put together with X, and X has this philosophy of like, I never say no. So I don't know nothing about dancing, but you told me that you need me to be a dance partner. I'm gonna be a dance partner. It is what it is. Like, you'll never know what happens with life, and I'm just trying to live life to its fullest. And he kind of like rubs off on her as far as like being optimistic and just like opening yourself up to possibilities, and he softens her, and it is so stinking sweet. And they work really well together. They're intentional about building their friendship and trusting each other because they're dance partners. Like, there's a lot of intimacy that happens with that. So I just thought it was so sweet. And I read it really quickly, but I still think about this. And like, X has rubbed off on me and like how I think about things, which I think is just so admirable. And I got this at the bargain table for $3.97, and I love that. For me, And I just want more people to read this and catch the feels. Next, I have A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 5 of 5 currently in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and it is humongous, but it did not feel like it. It was such a ride. I started out feeling one way and I ended up feeling a total different way. I don't think I cried in this, but I had such strong feelings about the events and the characters in this book, and for me to see obviously there's a journey. For it to be this long, they're detailing a lot about the journey of the characters, and she did not disappoint in showing that, and unpacking that slowly and showing the layers of this person's or these people's growth and the development of the relationships or the changes in their relationships. And I just thought it was excellent. I thought it was excellent for me to do such a 180 about people and their circumstances from this series and in this book alone. I will reread this. I don't know if I'll reread the whole series, maybe not anytime soon, but I definitely reread this. It was so good. And if you have interest in reading the Court of Thorns and Roses series, I don't think you will be disappointed by this book, knowing the characters that it's going to be following. And don't even think how long it's going to take you to read this. I think it's like almost 800 pages, 750 and change. It did not feel like it. It did not feel like it. I wasn't mad at it. This could have been 1,000 pages. Like, I ate it up, ate it up. And then finally, I have Fast by Millie Belizaire. Every time I talk about this book, I just go to another dimension. Okay, let me start with what it's about before I tell you how I feel. It is about Caprice. Her mom dies unexpectedly, so she had to go live with her grandma and her uncle. And I think she ends up adopting her or whatever. And we see her journey from 8 to 16 to 28, and how she's dealing with living with her grandma and her uncle, and just like the traumatizing things that she endures during this time in her childhood. And the neighbor boy across the street, Sean, his name is Sean, I'm certain. Sean across the street, he just instantly takes a likening to her, and wants to befriend her and just be kind to her, because she's really quiet, she's really mousy, and like kind of like protect her, and like it's clear that she needs a friend. So he kind of just opens himself up to her, and they become best friends through childhood, through teenage years. And then she kind of opens up more to him and confides in him, and he's like, all right, I've got you. And it just builds from there. And this is the sweetest, like warmest friends to lovers story. And it's not insta love, it's not like unrealistic by any means. Like, I feel like the journey that they go through happens, and that is both heartbreaking and very endearing and comforting to know that what these characters go through is reminiscent or reflective of some people's actual real lives. And I think, kind of like Kennedy Ryan's writing and her stories, the characters felt like people I know or people that I could know, and it just made the story hit so much closer to home. And this book, I blubbered. Like, sometimes I cry in books and it's just like, oh, tears. I literally was like in pain crying in this book. Also, I was enraged in this book. I was also like, oh, the feels and the love, like pretty much everything I felt in this. And it's not a long read either. I read this on my Kindle originally, and then I had to get the hard copy. But this book is a forever favorite, and I definitely look forward to rereading it again and just revisiting those feelings. So those are all of the 9 books that I have rated 5 stars so far this year. I hope you enjoyed listening to me blabber on about my favorite books of the year so far. Leave down below if any of these were your favorites and tell me what you thought, or like why was your favorite, because I know what I like these, but I want to see like why or how someone else might connect with them. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing before you leave. Other than that, I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.